Welcome to T&M Magic Hour.
Hi, I'm Tisha,
Hi, and I'm Michelle.
and welcome back to our podcast where we talk everything Disney, Universal, and everything travel. So let's get into it.
Okay, so in the last episode, we posed a trivia question at the end of the episode, and that was, what was the first coaster in the world to have a 90-degree drop? And that answer, if anybody got that one right, is Rip Ride Rockit at Universal. So an RIP to Rip Ride Rockit. He is no more. And the other, and yeah, I know, sad. Well, that isn't sad. I hate it.
I've never ridden it, but yeah.
And actually, Russell's soul left his body on that ride, so I don't think he was too sad to see that one go either. Yeah, so the other thing we left on the last episode as well was our regular would you rather question. So the would you rather question links nicely into this episode, which is all going to be about planning your first trips. So the would you rather was would you rather have a 9-hour delay? My brain is not working, it's the heat. A 9-hour delay on your flight in arrival to Orlando, or would you rather lose all of your suitcases and arrive with none? And I think the overwhelming response to that was that people agreed with us in that arriving without suitcases would be an absolute nightmare after all the planning that had gone into them.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, it's an overwhelming response in agreement with that.
Absolutely. So we're going to do our little magic minute bit, and just to give you some very, very sad news, because I sure am sad about this, is the Grand Floridian will no longer hold the gingerbread house at Christmas time, which I think is extremely sad. I've seen it once in my life, which was in 2020. And when we were planning a trip for next year, potentially to go see it again, but I'm very sad by that, and I'm not entirely sure why Disney have done that. I don't know if it's a financial issue or they just don't want to hold it, but I think it was such a great attraction to go and see.
It's a weird decision, I think, because I
Yeah.
think what I read is they're going to put smaller ones, but just around the resort rather than just all in
Oh,
one
I didn't
place.
know that.
That's kind of its uniqueness, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really
Mm.
nice touch to the hotel, and the smell
Yeah.
and the fact that you could buy the gingerbread as well, which I thought was
Yeah.
like a nice touch. So it's very sad that that is actually going now, and
Yeah.
anyone this Christmas that was planning to see it, well, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to take that out of your itinerary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just
Still
not going to be
visit.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other news is from what I believe, I don't know if this is a permanent thing or not, is I saw something about Disney Springs. They are gonna stop people from trying to get the buses, like the transportation from Disney Springs, because people are using the free parking and
Yeah.
then taking the transportation buses to go around the hotels. Now, whether that's a permanent thing, I'm not entirely sure. I know they trialed it during, was it Easter?
There was. So it was there when we were there, but only for the
Oh,
buses. So the buses, but they then
okay.
took it away. So I think it was over the busy period when
Yeah.
obviously we were there. But I had, yeah, like you say, the boats, because I had heard that they've now done it with the boats over to
Oh,
Port
okay.
Orleans and Riverside. So
Yeah.
I think that sounds a bit more like a permanent fixture from Disney Springs now.
Interesting. So I wonder how that works for people not staying on property, but they are in Disney Springs and they don't have a car per se.
Yeah.
How do you get round to the other hotels? Because we all know that I mean, this kind of ties in with our actual theme of planning today, but we all know that it's become a thing where people hotel hop, because there is so much attraction to see at the hotel without paying for anything, and it can become a relaxing time because
Well, I
you get
think
to
that's
hotel and eat.
in previous episodes. Actually, it's
Yeah,
one of our favourite days. Is our resort hop days.
yeah,
We love them. They're a really good way of seeing a lot of the Disney kind of theming and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff in a bit more of a relaxed way, aren't they? So yeah, I think it's an interesting and quite a big change.
yeah. It's
I don't know whether having stayed over at Riverside and
yeah,
Port Orleans, especially at Christmas. So it was obviously busy
yeah.
Christmas. I kind of can understand why they've done it with the boats, because they
Okay,
get very busy. And when you were coming back from
okay,
Springs, you
yeah.
could stand and wait an hour, and it would,
Oh, no
and you know
way.
that most people were just going over for the beignets,
Oh,
um, which
yeah,
are amazing. But if you're staying there, that's quite frustrating.
yeah,
So I sort of get it.
yeah.
but it does take away a bit of the magic of a resort hop for
Yeah.
sure. And we all know as well how difficult it is, even if you get an Uber.
Yeah.
They don't just let you in, do they? If you've not got a reservation, and I know of people that have been turned away with Ubers. If you're not
Oh,
staying there
really?
and you haven't got a reservation, yeah, they won't let you in.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so yeah, I
They're
think
becoming more stricter on that, but then that could upset a lot of people whose itinerary is to hotel hop. I mean, it then makes it question, can you hop from hotel to hotel without going through Disney Springs itself, or are they shutting it off for anyone to come into the hotels unless you have a reservation? Or, I mean, I know they did it with Disneyland Paris, that the Disney hotel itself, you couldn't go in unless you had another reservation at another hotel
yeah,
that was part of the Disney resort. So I'm wondering if they're trialing it that way
yeah.
and
I
seeing
think
how that works.
yeah, 'cause I think as far as I've read, as long as you're staying on resort property somewhere, you can use whatever transport
Yeah.
you like. So it doesn't. So like say for the boats to Port Orleans, as long as you're staying somewhere on property, you
Yeah.
can still use them. From what I've heard. But like you say, yeah, if you're staying off site, that could be it's going to be a big problem. I suppose the other thing, I guess, is you could probably still go to a park. So I guess
Yeah.
like take Epcot, for example, you could walk to the boardwalk, couldn't you, from
True.
Epcot?
Yeah.
And then I guess you can then still use the Skyliner.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So
guessing, because
might
it
be
doesn't
ways
suggest,
around it.
yeah, it doesn't suggest anywhere that you won't be able to use those sort
Yeah.
of modes of transport. But I mean, to be honest, I guess what they're trying to stop is the parking at Disney Springs for free.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to stop.
Essentially, and I mean that's a great idea, because otherwise they're not making money from that car park. The next thing for them to do would be to charge you for that car park itself, but that's not
Yeah.
fair on people that do actually just go there to spend the time to eat and drink or visit the shops and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that
yeah.
turns out. But those are the only
Develops.
news that we have at the minute.
Okay, so on to the main topic of our episode this time, which is about planning your first Disney trip and all the things you need to consider, specifically from the UK. So obviously we know there's some like big differences if you're in the US, if you live there. It's a very different experience to booking from the UK as well. So yes, we're going to just sort of fill it with our kind of experiences, things that we've done, things that we've learned, things that we've done wrong, because I'm sure there is lots of those and wished we hadn't done them. Because as we all know, that booking a Disney trip is a bit like a military operation, and there is a lot to it, and lots of things that can make or break your trip. So we thought we'd probably start with kind of the getting there, and kind of just run through the trip that way. So we'll start with airports, I think. So we were just sort of chatting about this just a minute ago. So our main airport that we fly from now is Heathrow. We live down in Somerset in the south of the country, so there is no airport that's really close to us. But we do find Heathrow a little bit easier to get to from a driving perspective. But we have flown from Manchester Airport as well. And I guess from an experience kind of perspective, Manchester Airport was a great airport, actually, for anybody who flies from up north. It was nice and easy. It was smooth through the airport. I think just for us, it's just more of a logistics in terms of having to drive all the way. We find Heathrow a lot easier to get to.
Yeah.
Heathrow's your local airport, isn't it?
Yeah. Heathrow is about 20 minutes away from me. So I do get the luxury of all the noisy planes going past my house. Same with RAF. That's only down at the back of where I live. But yeah, Heathrow's my local, but I have flown from Gatwick, and that would take the airline British Airways. But we found that being closer to home, we fly with Virgin, and I find that the price comparison, I would prefer Gatwick because they are cheaper. But then you've got to add up all the cost of staying down there the night before, just because where I live, I back onto the A40 onto the M25. If there's an accident, you're not going anywhere for hours and hours and hours. So I always try and drive down the night before, but we know that can be costly because then you've got to get a hotel, you've got to park. Sometimes you can get good deals, sometimes you can't. So Heathrow is our main one where we do go from now, because it is the one that makes it a bit easier. I still drive and I still leave my car at the airport. I have learnt my lesson from that big time this trip. I've learnt to not park it with purple parking. Not that they were any not good. It's just that it was too far for me from the airport in terms of distance. So I have learned my lesson on that one.
No, we are all for ease when it comes to airports. So
Yeah,
we always stay overnight the night before, even if we've got like an early afternoon flight.
yeah,
I hate the thought of getting stuck in traffic or anything that just stresses me out. So yeah, we always stay overnight. I'm a meet and greet parker. I much prefer to just be able to drop my car and walk straight to the terminal. I can't be doing with the buses or anything like that. I think Heathrow is such a big airport.
yeah,
And I do find that that's the one thing for me. Manchester was a lot easier in terms of
yeah,
like getting to and from the airport. The buses weren't so busy and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff. I do find Heathrow, if you need to get the bus when you've got, 15, not many suitcases, but you know what I mean, you're lugging massive,
yeah,
great big suitcases around, and you've got children in our case as well, trying to
yeah,
keep an eye on them. The buses are just a nightmare. So yeah,
absolutely.
I much prefer a bit of a meet and greet car
Yeah,
park.
I've learned my lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
You learned
Yeah.
my
So
lesson.
yeah, all for ease, and nothing's much cheaper, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
You put the word airport in it, it costs you a lot
exactly.
of money.
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, I left my parking relatively late this year because I wasn't sure whether I was going to take my car or not. So when I originally booked my trip for this year, I booked it sometime the beginning of last year, but I had a different car. I had a smaller car, and originally we were just going to leave the car at home and take an Uber.
Yeah.
But both times we had done that, we found that we spent over an hour waiting for an Uber just to arrive. And
Yeah.
the times that I have booked, maybe like pre-booked my Uber, well, not only does it actually cost more sometimes, but also they don't turn up on time.
No.
So that's also another issue. But this time, yeah,
Yeah.
I will rather park at the actual airport and skip out the buses. But
Yeah.
that time it was so much more expensive. It was almost like almost £300 to leave
Mm.
my car at the airport because I had left it so late. Um, so I had learnt my lesson. Purple parking's good. I love the way that they deal with everything. They're really easy. It's just it doesn't just deal with that one terminal. So even though I booked at Terminal 3, the terminal for 2 and 3 were the exact same where everyone parks their car, and then you have to go over to Terminal 5. So it kind of goes round the houses before you get to even
Yeah.
do everything. It's very irritating.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's so many things to consider when you're picking your airport, actually. We talk about it from us, it's a bit of an ease perspective. I much prefer to be able to just know where I'm going, get there, and it's just easy.
Yeah,
As you say, different airlines obviously fly from different airports.
yeah,
And the airline prices are, again, if we're talking about planning, you obviously need to pick your flights and who you're going to fly with and all of that,
yeah.
which is on the list to talk about. But there is a huge price difference between different airlines.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've found this with our upcoming trip in August, actually. So I am a religious Virgin flyer normally. We're on the point system. I will book them over anyone. But the
Yeah,
price difference this time round going with Virgin compared to BA was
yeah.
huge. Yeah, so we've had to make a bit of a slight change to our airline plan this time. Although BA are flying from Heathrow now. They've opened up and are flying some flights through Heathrow.
What, some of the Orlando flights?
Yeah,
And where
yeah.
are they landing?
So they're into MCO as well.
MCO as well. Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. I did not
yeah,
know that because I haven't booked with British Airways since my first trip in 2023, and that was a significant price difference compared to what I booked for not last year's, yeah, last year's trip, sorry.
yeah,
And the price difference in that, I mean, granted, I flew premium economy, and there was just a massive difference, but the convenience of only being 20 minutes away from my house
yeah,
was a lot easier.
yeah. Well, that's one of the things that's put us off because even for us, for Gatwick, because you have to go further around.
Yeah,
For us, it can add hours onto your journey depending
yeah,
on the traffic. Whereas, like say for Heathrow, for us is the right side. And so we've never flown from Gatwick just for that pure reason. It's just too much of a
yeah,
thing to get to. Yeah, but knowing that BA now, are actually having some flights out of Heathrow is a useful thing to know because the price difference is huge.
yeah. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So I shall let you know whether we were happy with the flight or not when we come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So we're just going to talk a little bit about the airlines that we have flown with, which kind of we've done in the little segment beforehand. But airlines wise, in comfortability, food, the pricing, the seating, I've done Virgin twice now, and I've done economy and premium economy. And let me just tell you, I regret not booking premium economy for this flight this time. Um, it was probably the most uncomfortable flight I had, and I have ADHD, and that whatever pain I was going through on the flight just sent that into a bit of turmoil. Like I just couldn't sit still. I think it's even worse when you're a family of just two people. Economy, you're three. I think it's 333 or 343. Whereas if you're in the premium economy side, it's 2-3 or 2-4-2 or 2-3-2, depending on the plane that they're using. I just found it so uncomfortable this trip, and I think even though I'm short, I'm long-legged, and that's my issue. Whereas my mum, she's a bit more comfortable than I am because she's short body, short legs, whereas I'm short body, long legs, and that's a problem, especially when you have like circulation issues or hip issues or back issues. If you're anything like me, um, it does make it very uncomfortable sitting in economy, and then you feel bad for the person in the aisle seat. Now I tend to sit in the window, but then it's like I refuse to get up because I don't want to interrupt the person in the aisle seat or my mum. Whereas if we were sitting in, say, premium economy where it's two-seaters, there's more space. My mum gets up a bit more often, so do I. So the circulation isn't so bad. So I think that was like the massive difference I noticed in
yeah.
terms of seating with Virgin itself. I mean, I don't know what economies you've sat in and stuff like that, but
Yeah, so we've flown, so as I said earlier on, we are a bit of a slave to Virgin, actually, more recently, but we've flown with TUI before, so we flew into
okay, yeah,
Melbourne. TUI, I actually couldn't fault that. It was an Airbus, so the space
okay,
that you
yeah,
had was great. I think they are slightly bigger
yeah,
picture than an Airbus
yeah,
anyway. Yeah, the service on TUI was great. Like we couldn't fault it. Obviously flying into Melbourne, you are about 90 minutes away from Orlando, so obviously you've got that
yeah,
extra journey at the end. We did that one as a package, so we just hopped on
okay,
their transfer bus, which was
yeah,
fine. Obviously you do get at the end where they drop you off about a million different places before they get to your hotel when you do a transfer with them, don't they? But yeah, so that did add a bit of time on. But Melbourne Airport as well, we that's such a small airport that you
yeah,
fly through. So probably in realistic terms, by the time that we'd actually got to the, kind of into Orlando, we probably
yeah,
wouldn't have even got out of MCO Airport,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah.
You can sometimes stand in those queues, can't you, for a long, long time?
Was
Yeah.
yeah,
But TUI, again, we would fly with TUI again.
okay,
But they only fly into Melbourne, so you can't fly anywhere else.
yeah,
And I think the flights just in previous trips have just not quite worked. So
yeah,
we've obviously then been stuck with Virgin. But I think your comment though about the premium economy versus economy,
yeah,
with three of us, we do find economy probably not so bad because
yeah,
obviously then we fill a row. So then if one of us
yeah,
wants to get out, then we just kick the other two out of the way. It's just you
yeah,
don't feel so bad doing it to your own family, do you?
yeah,
Some rando sat on the end. So that's probably slightly better. But premium economy it's a vast difference between sitting
oh
in
yeah,
we did it in the last trip that we had. We upgraded the trip home so that we were sat in premium
okay,
economy, and obviously as
yeah,
an overnight flight made all the difference because you've got
yeah,
that extra space to just lie back, can't you, and
exactly, yeah,
actually rest properly. I think I don't hate the economy section
yeah,
in Virgin. For us, there's always enough. We always like to sit at the back, so we're up against a wall.
oh, same,
Always do that because then you can just put your seat back, and then you've instantly got loads more room than what you would have
yeah,
had normally. So that for me is a bit of a deal breaker. I always have to get those seats,
yeah,
or the ones at the front at the bulkhead seats. So it
okay,
gives you
yeah,
more leg room. So those seats are equally,
yeah,
you've just got more room at the front. So yeah, I mean that does make a difference. But yeah, you can't, like I say, I can't really fault Virgin. I think they're always a great, great airline to fly with. Their service
yeah,
is brilliant. The food is always okay. I hate those little snacks they give you. I don't know what they are. They're disgusting. But other than that,
The ones that they give you when you first get on the plane with the drink. Oh, I love those.
do you like them? Charlie does as well. He always eats mine, but I think they're horrible. They've given out, and I'm like, oh, what are these things?
Changed it from the pretzels, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, they were the pretzel.
Frankly. Yeah, but otherwise, I think the food is usually it's airplane food, but it's always all right.
I can't fault their food. Their food's pretty decent.
Yeah, exactly. So, so all in all, I've never flown BA as of yet, so I shall be able to update on what I think about that.
Yeah, I've done BA, but I've taken it from Gatwick.
Mm-hmm.
The seats are not too bad because we picked. So there's pros and cons to their seats. We did economy back in 23, and we sat at the very back of the plane where there's two sets. I think it's either two sets or three sets of two-seaters.
Yeah.
But they are directly at the back of the plane. And if anyone that knows going to Florida, there's always a point in that flight when you're just about to hit like New York, depending on what angle you're coming in from. You go New York and you kind of work your way down. For some reason, the turbulence is extremely bad, but you feel the turbulence double when you're sat right at the back of the plane. And we have made that mistake, and we have learnt from that mistake, is to never be at the back of the plane because it's horrendous. The turbulence is just ridiculous. Space-wise, having the two-seaters was pretty nice. But it's not like premium economy when you're sat in the two-seaters, and it's a bit more comfortable. Food-wise, I don't remember what we ate. But I remember eating it. So I'm going to say that it was nice.
Too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it can't have been too bad.
Edible, then.
Exactly. So, that's the airlines that I've kind of flown with, and they're pretty decent. And flying with BA, you fly into Terminal C. So that's the first time that I'd seen Terminal C. I know Virgin now have switched over from Terminal A, B to now C. I think as of, is it next month or is it this? It was either this month or next month, but
I think it got pushed back, didn't it? I think it might be next month.
Yeah. So originally, because when I originally was supposed to go on my trip, it did say Terminal C. And then I saw something on Instagram, I think, and it said, oh, check your flights. It's gone back to Terminal AB. And I checked it, and it actually changed then and there that it was Terminal AB. So I at least got to see it one last time before we now switch over to the clinical side of Terminal C.
Absolutely. Although I have to say, as much as like obviously the nostalgia of the old terminal hits, but do you know what? I'm not too sad about it because it isn't very efficient, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, the carpets and 6 suitcases, no.
It's not great dragging it over a carpet. The whole of the way they do their baggage in that terminal.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because why are you giving me a trolley? And as soon as I hit them double doors, they're like, okay, I need the trolley back. What do you mean? I went from here to here and now you want the trolley back?
Yeah, exactly.
So what was the point in that? And then you have to go up a set of escalators. Anyone coming to Florida, 9 times out of 10, we're all coming with big suitcases. So
you know what,
you have
that bit always lift. I again lose my soul in that bit there because anywhere in this country you're not allowed on escalators with suitcases.
Exactly.
Big signs everywhere. Here there's like, where are the lifts? There aren't any. Great.
Escalators.
Struggle with a suitcase that's almost the same size as me.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But that is MCO for you, and they are now losing that terminal. I guess they're going to close that one to refurb it before and send everyone over to Terminal C. So expect it to be a little bit more busier, guys, because they're moving it over. So you're going to have more people flying in. I mean, I guess they'll close it section by section. So it depends on how they're going to section it in itself. But very sad.
It's certainly not going to make it easier to get through, is it?
No, just more queues upon queues.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the one thing we've not talked about yet is probably that really important bit of admin, which is the ESTA application, which can be an absolute nightmare if you don't get that in place before you book your holiday. So we probably should have done that before we started talking about airlines. So ESTA is the waiver program for, it's essentially a visa to get into America, isn't it? Which in theory you should fill it in and you get it back within hours. I mean, I think hours, the ones we had, I think we had them back within a couple of hours. They were quite quick to come back round.
Yeah.
So, which is all well and great, and that means it's super easy for your trip because you've then got your visa done. You can then book everything, and that's fine. However, if you don't do that and you book your trip, there has been some horror stories recently where ESTAs have been denied.
Yeah.
They don't think they have to tell you why, and you can't reapply either if they decline them.
Oh.
So you have to apply for a visa, and they take months.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so if they actually decline them, so there are instances, I think, where if you've done them administratively wrong, it comes back with a different error, and that's fine, you can reapply then. But if they actually decline it, you can't reapply. Using that, you have to use the visa program.
Yeah.
And that can take a long time. So yeah, I suppose the biggest tip there is just to make sure you have that in place before you book anything expensive you can't cancel, because that would be an absolute horror story.
Yeah, the prices have also gone up for them. Were they $20-something before? They're now gone up to 40-something. I want to say $40.
Yeah, I think so. And I think because you have to attach photographs to them now as well, don't you?
Yeah, now they ask you to take pictures of them. And I think there was a whole situation again with what you said about them being cancelled, and some of them were to do with people not having pictures uploaded in the first place. So even if you do have them, they can still go back and revoke that authorization, which is why religiously I was checking them. But what I also did make sure I do is the morning of my flight is I screenshot, making sure it had the time and the date, but I screenshot it so that if they ever question it and it happened to decline or they revoked it while I was on the flight, I can actually show, well, you had it there this morning. Why have you changed it the day that I'm flying? But yeah, ESTAs do last for 10 years, 2 years, sorry. So just make sure you get it done. Make sure you get it done within a reasonable amount of time before your trip. Because you just don't want any issues with them. I at least recommend 3 months beforehand, maybe even before. I think when I booked my trip last year, we had to renew our ESTAs, and it was because our passports had expired. And I think I want to say I did it in the January and we went in the March. So
that's a good point actually with the ESTA, because a lot of people don't realize that the ESTA is attached to a specific passport. So if your passport runs out, you have to do another ESTA, even if you've still got time on it. So that as you said earlier on, they do last 2 years, but it will disappear with the passport. And there are quite a few people that don't know that. It's a useful thing to know.
Very useful. So the next part is getting in and around Orlando. So this time I actually went with a private hire company to do the transfer, which was relatively easy. Communication was impeccable. I went with private car hire. I mean, if you've watched the Night Striders vlogs, you will see that's where I got the information from. Jeremy was actually my driver that day, and it was an amazing service. It was $210 a round trip, and then you also get a complimentary 20-minute stop off at Publix, just in case you need to get waters or anything. But it was such an easy process. The communication was impeccable. I can't fault it for nothing, because we had the year before we took an Uber. We waited an hour in that heat. Now, if any of you have been to Orlando and you come out of the airport and you're stuck under that little shelter bit, you will know how hot it is in Orlando. Even no matter what time of day you go, it is hot. But we waited an hour for an Uber because we ordered an extra large one because we had 6 suitcases, and we did not want to do that again because we also had the same issue booking an Uber to go back to the airport, and they're not the most cheapest. So it was quite nice having someone there ready to help us with our luggage. And it was like a nice, simple process. In terms of using Ubers to get around Orlando, we have noticed a significant difference between last year and this year. Things that were costing a lot less in terms of Ubers and Lyft were costing a lot more. And I stay on iDrive. It's now made impact on my decision for my next trip that I will no longer be staying on iDrive and at Disney's property, because it would be much more useful to utilize Disney's transportation, which we'll kind of get into at the same time. But yeah, Ubers, Lyfts, they're out of the world right now. And I guess it's because of the surge in petrol prices and with what's going on around the world at the minute. So, I mean, we get it here in the UK, it's the same in the USA, but it's very expensive.
We noticed that on the last trip as well. We noticed they were a lot less reliable.
Yeah,
What
waiting
we
very long
used to wait
time.
a long time for them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they were a lot more expensive as well. So and I'm with you with the transfers for the airport. So we've done Ubers before, which were
yeah,
fine, got get you where you want to go. But the peace of mind knowing that you've got a transfer waiting is a
yeah.
massive. We I think I've said this in the previous episodes, but we are now a bit of a convert for the minivan transfers. So
Okay, yeah.
we're doing those again this time.
Okay, nice.
Which was, yeah, just gets you in that bubble a little bit earlier. And we
Yeah.
all know how great those cast members are. So
Yeah, exactly. I've not been in one of those yet, but I will try them probably on maybe like my next trip or something,
yeah.
just to say that I've experienced the minivan. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. No, we do love it. Do love a minivan. They are expensive,
yeah,
but we do like them. But yeah, so we've never, I don't know about you, we've never hired a car when we've been over there. I know lots of people that do.
yeah. I've not
We
hired
haven't.
one. Yeah, we've never hired one, but this trip, I said to my mum, we're hiring one next year. I've driven long enough. She's driven long enough. We should both know what roads are like. And yeah, it's just a case of opposite side of the road.
Yeah.
But most of their cars there are automatics, and I drive an automatic here, so it's not much difference in terms of like getting around. It's just knowing the road signs, and if you take a crash course beforehand, you should be fine of
Yeah.
knowing what to do. But I definitely think this trip has impacted my thoughts of hiring a car. Even though I'll be staying at Disney's property, I definitely think a car's still quite nice. That if you want to go shopping, you've got the luxury, or if there's particular restaurants you want to go to, you do have the luxury or the
Yeah.
freedom, should I say, to kind of just mosey on about without having to wait for Ubers and Lyfts and standing in the hot sun and
Hmm.
waiting
Yeah.
personally.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it's probably for both. If you're staying off site, you're going to be using a lot more Ubers to get in and out
Yeah,
anyway. So then having the car is probably a good thing. I think when you're staying on site, we
mm,
tend to not go off site too much because we don't have a car. But if we had a
yeah,
car, we would do it more. Um, but we do go off and do things, but you're obviously reliant on, oh, we need to get an Uber, and you kind of
yeah,
almost need to make it worthwhile. You don't just jump in the car and pop somewhere, do you?
exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah. But those are your modes of transportation. And then you got the Disney transportation. You have, I mean, comparing the transportations between Disney and Universal, I think we spoke about it in previous episodes in terms of like getting around both places. They do have their resorts buses on the in Universal side, and there is buses that take you from Epic Universe to Universal Studios. So there is that luxury. But in terms of Disney, Disney's a lot larger, I feel like, because they have got multiple parks, and I feel like they actually have more hotels than Universal does. So I feel like there's a lot more transportation in terms of like your buses, your Skyliners, the monorail. I don't know if there's any more transportation. I don't think there is.
no.
No. So yeah, between those, there is a lot more transportation with them. But yeah, those are your ways of getting in and out and around. And if you were staying on International Drive, you do have the trolley that goes from one end to the other. So essentially, if you were going to Disney, you could take the trolley. If you wanted to make your Uber cheaper, you could take the trolley over down to the Vineland outlet, and then from there, I guess call an Uber because it's essentially round the corner from Disney, so you're not paying that
Yeah.
much. Um, but yeah, you still kind of got to weigh out the pros and the cons of transportation and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we thought we'd just do a little section just on sort of little things that people may not even think about, but actually do catch you out when you're out there if you're not careful. And one of the things that we were just sort of talking about was mobile data and using your mobiles in America. So if you literally just get off the plane, turn your phone on, and just allow it to connect, and not really consider how that's connecting or whether you've already got roaming data and things like that, then America is incredibly expensive for your phone to be connected to it constantly. And I think that is an area that can catch people out. And we can be talking, well, hundreds, if not thousands of pounds of data usage just using your phone. So we as a family, have got global roaming data on our phones anyway. I made sure I paid for that. It's on our contract, so I know that we're covered when we're over there. And I think you said that you do the same on yours. I am aware that lots of people do use like eSIMs, so they'll buy a specific eSIM or a SIM when you get there that you can connect into your phone, so it's using it on American. So you're in control of how much you're spending, and it's not costing you the thousands that it potentially could. So I think this is more a tip about just making sure you think about it and how you're going to use your phone, as opposed to just turning it on. That could be quite an expensive mistake.
Yeah, very. Also, just another point, tipping. This is the one that always strikes us, because in the UK it's not really a thing. They have something called gratuity, if I can pronounce it. But in America, we all know that there is a massive tipping culture. Now, the way I work with it is I tend to just use cash. So if you're at Disney, a lot of the times you've got your quick serve. So there isn't much in terms of like tipping anywhere there. But if I'm doing a sit down, I tend to pay in cash, because I don't know if you realize, but it's very old school in like the USA. Like they take your card and then they charge it. And I don't like the idea that someone's got to take my card to charge it. Even though it pings up on my phone to say this is the amount, I don't like the idea that they got to do that. So in sit down restaurants, I tend to pay by cash, and I'll tip in cash, because sometimes it doesn't always go to that person that served you. If I'm going to be forced to tip you, I at least want it to go to the person that is being the one that served me. In terms of how much, it depends. I look at the receipt and see what they think. And if I feel like that's how much I would have tipped, then fine. But if it's not, then I'm changing that. Because at the end of the day, tip is not mandatory. It's out of a gesture to say thank you. But it's not a mandatory thing. And I think America has changed a lot in terms of what they think a tip should be and stuff like that. So yeah, it's
a very, very different culture to what we're used to. And I don't know about you, but I find it, if you're going somewhere, particularly offsite, I don't think it's quite so bad when you're on site, but they hear your accent, they automatically assume that you're not going to tip very much. We have had experience of that, where they're almost like, oh, here you go, the English, they're going to be really stingy, because it is such a different culture. Like you say, the tipping, their expectation levels of a tip are kind of between 18 and 25% as a normal amount to tip, whereas for us that would be that would have to be the best service we'd ever had in our life to be able to tip. So that takes a bit of a getting used to. Now I do tend to, so you said you pay in cash. I don't. I tend to pay card all the time. Now the one thing from the UK, and it's worth knowing this as well, so it's not just from the tip perspective, but also just from the card usage perspective, because they do take the cards away and they charge them. UK cards hate that, and it flags all of the time. You get dragged from your seat. You have to go and put the PIN number in, because UK cards don't like being charged. The last trip we had, I don't think my card liked it once. I had to go physically and put my PIN number in every single time. They couldn't do it. We have experienced times where they don't understand that and they think your card is being declined. And I've had to have like almost arguments with them, like, no, I just need to put my PIN number in. It's fine. It's you trying to charge it. It thinks you're being fraudulent. But they don't always understand that. So I think that's a tip. Just stand your ground. Your card will work. You just need to
come in.
It's just them trying to stop you stealing money, basically. Which is fine. And also with the tipping with the card, so they give you a receipt, don't they, where you can write the tip in. You just have to be good at maths. Just bear that in mind as well, because you do have to sit and add it all up. So that's a slightly different experience for us all as well.
It's very different in terms of their tipping culture on that one.
Completely. Really different. I suppose moving on to the next kind of thing as well that does catch people out is the weather. So different times of year produce incredibly different weather. The biggest mistake I ever made was on our first August trip, where I packed jeans. How ridiculous was that? Why did I do that? I have no idea. It's very hot, very humid. August, and you will get caught out with rain.
Oh, yeah.
Which people don't, again, you're not prepared for. It's boiling hot, and then, you know, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day, you will get absolutely soaking wet for 15 minutes because it's the weather it is. You have to kind of be prepared for all the different sorts of weather.
Yeah, absolutely. I recommend that if you're a thick thigh girly like myself, wear shorts underneath anything. That whole trip, I wore shorts. If you're taking pictures and you don't want it in your pictures because it doesn't look right, just roll them up. Even under my denim shorts, if they were not reaching, like my denim shorts weren't reaching a point where my legs were going to be covered, I'd have to put shorts under that and then have them down. And yeah, it does look stupid, but nothing ruins your trip more. Me and my mum learned this one last year, than having chafed legs. It's painful. It can ruin your trip. We did ours last year on the first day that we got there, and it was horrendous. So bring your chafing creams, bring fans, baby powder yourself up, and bring some chafing shorts. Primark is good for those. And over the years, before this trip, I did actually buy a fair few pairs of them, just so that I had enough to cover me through the chafing season, because May, even though it's May, it's still really hot. So anywhere I'd say between May and August is usually be careful with the weather.
Yeah,
be careful.
Absolutely. And shoes, bring spare shoes, because when we talk about the rain, it runs through the streets like rivers. Your feet will get wet, and there is nothing worse than only having one pair of shoes that are soaking wet the whole trip. Yeah,
not nice at all.
No. Right, so we are now at the part where we're going to do our trivia and our would you rather questions for you all to respond to. So if I just get my question up. So the trivia question for the week is, approximately how many miles of underground tunnels run beneath Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom? So yeah, if you know the answer to that, if you want to jump on our socials, come and answer that question for us, and we will reveal the answer next week or next episode. And then our would you rather question, sort of relating to planning as well. So would you rather do your entire Orlando trip with no park app access or no pre-booked dining reservations?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm not sure. Maybe I need the app. I need to know the wait times.
Everyone needs the app.
Need the app.
Dining reservations, you just have to fingers crossed.
That you can get one.
Yeah.
I definitely think I would prefer having the app rather than the dining reservations.
Yeah, it would definitely give me some horrors, that would, though, not having dining reservations, but I think I'd have to go with that.
Yeah. So that is the end of our podcast. If you have followed along this far, then we thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Don't forget to answer those questions. They're good ones. And don't forget to follow us on our socials, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you all so much for watching.
We hope you had a magical time.
See you next time on T&M Magic Hour.